reading. Science lesson before movie.
Mysteries of Gravity. Why anyone is impressed with a zero-G film 45 years after being impressed with 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Then we land at Edwards and I find out that she's run off with this lawyer.
Movie expects us to believe any woman would run off on George Clooney.
Could Houston be misinterpreting the data?
We're not receiving any data.
Is it data or data? F***ing get on the same page at least.
Installing your system in the Hubble is the purpose of this mission.
And exposition is the purpose of this line of dialogue.
Mysteries of Gravity. Why Bullock, a medical doctor, is servicing the Hubble Space Telescope.
But this one's a prototype.
They don't bankroll prototypes, even for your pretty blue eyes.
You're flying around space on a prototype, remember?
Engineering requests fuel status on the jetpack prototype. What do you like about being up here?
The silence. I could get used to it.
Since when have you heard silence since you've been up here? With Houston breathing down your neck about your health, and Kowalski telling stories about his ex-wife and playing country music, and the other scientist playing with his tether at recess, you haven't had 1 minute of silence.
Put a bow on it, Dr. Stone.
I can't. The board is still initializing.
Have you ever been so frustrated getting something to work that you ignored the description of flying debris coming at you like a speeding bullet, and the direct order to stop doing the work?
The film Gravity depicts a scenario of catastrophic satellite destruction that can actually happen.
Half of North America just lost their Facebook.
This is not a bad thing. This happens for quite some time, so go ahead and get your refill of popcorn and soda here. Nightmare fodder.
Houston, this is Kowalski. How do you copy?
Mysteries of Gravity. Satellite communications are disrupted at 230 miles up, but communication satellites orbit 100 times higher.
Space is racist. Movie wants you to know that Whole Face Guy had a family. Please weep accordingly. Also, oh my god, his face! Marvin the Martian and Rubik's Cube remind you that astronauts are nerds. In space, no one can hear your dead body floating harmlessly into frame, unless it's jump scare time.
O2 down to 2%.
We're getting there. Beautiful, don't you think?
When her oxygen was at 8%, he was giving her stern instructions to breathe slower and stop talking so much, but now that it's down to 2%, he's like, F it, let's chat.
I had a daughter.
Well, of course you did.
She was at school playing tag, slipped, hit her head, and that was it.
Where was this game of tag being played? In a bathtub? On an icy parking lot? A rocky field of banana peels?
The film Gravity should be renamed Zero Gravity.
Her tank went from 2% to 1% just floating behind Kowalski for a few seconds, but somehow, even after her tank is empty, she's fine freaking out, flailing around, and gasping for air for the minute or so after the tether breaks.
The ropes are too loose. I'm pulling you with me. You have to let me go, or we both die.
I see someone's seen Mission to Mars. Besides me, I mean.
Mysteries of Gravity. When Clooney releases Bullock's tether, he drifts away. In Zero-G, a single tug brings them together.
Man, they gave Clooney the Steven Seagal in executive decision treatment.
My CO2 alarm went off.
Oh, now the movie remembers the oxygen issue. I bet it becomes an urgent thing again, too, doesn't it?
Getting lightheaded, right? That's because you're breathing CO2.
Mysteries of Gravity. Astronaut Clooney informs medical Dr. Bullock what happens medically during oxygen deprivation.
Look to the west. You see that dot in the distance? It's a Chinese station.
Mysteries of Gravity. How Hubble, 350 miles up, the International Space Station, 230 miles up, and a Chinese space station are all in sight lines of one another.
But
I want to hear you say you're going to make it.
Yes, let's waste time, breath, and precious consciousness to boost her morale.
Her name is Ryan, for a girl.
Dad wanted a boy.
Ryan's dad wanted a boy so much that the naming process was settled even after she turned out to be a girl.
Your beautiful blue eyes.
Brown eyes.
Repeated but inverted dialogue interplay cliche. Also, you cannot build tension about her life or death oxygen consciousness situation and then pause every few seconds for cute dialogue. That's called having your cake and inhaling it too.
Hey Ryan, you should see the sun on the Ganges.
You should also get your ass inside the space station, for Christ's sakes. Considering how slippery her grip has been the last 20 seconds, this door-opening blast should have definitely blown her out to space to trade afterlife stories with Clooney. Hey wait, where'd the silence come from? I mean, why was there a super loud noise a second ago out in space? 20 full seconds of gasping.
Mysteries of Gravity. Why Bullock's hair in otherwise convincing Zero-G scenes did not float freely on her head.
Heavy-handed womb imagery. Are astronauts really barefoot inside their spacesuits? Lucky as shit fire extinguisher figures into the plot later.
Mysteries of Gravity. Nearly all satellites orbit Earth west to east, yet all satellite debris portrayed orbited east to west.
If you didn't see this movie in 3D, you missed an opportunity for this scene to utterly blow your mind. And that's a sin on you. And I fucking hate 3D for what it's worth. Also, there goes HBO again. And that shit's gonna be out for a long-ass time. I'm not sure how all this space debris avoids the escape pod, but apparently it has the same aim as bad guys in movies.
I hate space.
Understated one-liner after surviving a crazy, dramatic space debris storm. Medical doctor expertly and perfectly executes 13-degree course change burn in spacecraft on first try. Jesus, even Sulu f***ed up something the first time he took out the Enterprise. The old tapping the gauge reveals the actual fuel level gag. I actually haven't seen that one in a while. Space tantrum. In space, no one can hear you scream. But if you're a casual observer on the outside of the escape pod, you can hear Dr. Stone's muted communication to Houston. Space is deadly, but Earth sure is beautiful cliché.
Mysteries of Gravity. Why we enjoy a sci-fi film set in make-believe space more than we enjoy actual people set in real space.
Man, this movie really hits you over the head with Dr. Stone's tragedy, doesn't it? Would this movie be less dramatic if her daughter were still alive? Can you at least be a little less heavy-handed about it? Clooney ex machina. Also, movie figures out a way to give you more Clooney even after his character died.
There's nobody up here that can hurt you. It's safe.
Well, except for all that satellite debris that keeps rotating Earth every 90 minutes.
Oh, you're a clever son of a bitch, Matt.
With a population of 1 inside the escape pod, even now the man gets credit for the woman's idea.
She was so worried about that shoe, Matt, but I was just right under the bed.
Sorry to interject into this uplifting moment in the film, but the shoe was under the bed? What a tricky place for a shoe to be. We interrupt this live-action space terror movie to bring you WALL-E.
The film Gravity should be renamed Angular Momentum.
Debris that should still be on its original trajectory somehow falls fast enough to target the Chinese space station, which is currently plunging into Earth's atmosphere. Also, the difficult re-entry isn't enough tension. We have to add even more tension, the kind we've already seen twice in this movie. Awesome. She survives the door-opening blast again? She has a King Kong grip, but only when holding on to opening space doors. Otherwise, she's f***ing Butterfingers the whole movie. So, ping pong, huh? Is there any way to play meaningful ping pong in space? Trying to decide if this is accurate prop management or just lazy racism. Ryan, who doesn't speak a lick of Chinese, just starts pushing buttons in the hopes that one of them is the eject this craft button, and miraculously, the third f***ing button she punches is! This counter has 55 seconds on it when it starts, and then she begins her final little Houston in the blind speech, and then we cut to when the craft separates, and it's f***ing 2 full minutes after the countdown began. I'm just saying. If you want Ryan to have a 2-minute empowerment speech at the end, just write the countdown timer to start at 1:55 instead of 55 seconds. Jesus. We interrupt the finale of Gravity to bring you a quick shot from Armageddon. I don't know, the Chinese station was losing altitude, there were tons of variables involving the escape pod and whether it could have done anything right. It's an uncontrolled re-entry and landing into a lake when it could easily have hit ground. This is one of the luckiest escapes in movie history. We've already had her narrowly escape death about 11 times in this movie, but what the hell, let's give it one more go.
Right under the bed.
My tweets hardly ever convey opinion, mostly perspectives on the world. But if you must know, I enjoyed Gravity very much.
Hey, did you know Neil deGrasse Tyson hosts Star Talk Radio? They have their own YouTube channel, and it's awesome. You will dig it if you like space, or science, or staggeringly brilliant people like Neil deGrasse Tyson, or Bill Nye, or many other special guests. So check it out.
You come and see some of what we do here live, and comment on it, and check it out, and just hang out in the Star Talk universe. Check it out.
And an absolutely huge thank you to our special guest narrator for Gravity, Neil deGrasse Tyson. You, sir, are welcome back anytime.
But I am flying! And from way up here, you all look like little ants! But let me know you're up there!
Hey, I can see our hotel from here.
Sharif, what's your status?
Gravity.
Try again.
No, still nothing.
Retainer. Retainer.
Houston in the blind.
If I can take this moment to thank Helga B. For not letting me write in cards with boys till I was 18, because she was right, I would have done what she said I was going to do.
Aurora Borealis. At this time of year, at this time of day, in this part of the country, localized entirely within your kitchen.